Thomas Markle, he's due to turn 80 next year, and as we know, he's not been a well man recently, and indeed it was a brush with death just last year that renewed his plea for reconciliation with his daughter Meghan, or Meg, and her husband Prince Harry. This morning, he's going to urge that royal couple to allow him to meet his grandchildren for the very first time while he still has the chance.
Thomas was admitted to hospital back in May last year when he suffered a stroke and consequently lost the ability to speak. He's had speech therapy. He's now regained the ability to speak out, and he joins us live exclusively. And Thomas, you believe that this will be your last ever live television interview. You have a final television message for your daughter, don't you?
No, not my last, but I still haven't seen my grandkids, and that's it. Is a vow. I want to see my grandkids, and I think the king would like to see his grandkids as well.
Susanna and I last spoke to you, I think it was October 2021, and I remember one of the first things you said to us was that this was going to become a regular thing, that you were going to go on television, you said to us, about once a month, to keep pushing until finally the door opened and you got a chance to see your daughter again. You're not that bothered about Harry, but you wanted to see Meg again and you want to see the grandchildren. And then you had the stroke. You were very ill with that stroke. As Susanna said, you lost the power of speech. Did Meghan make any attempt, even via a third party, to see how you were doing?
To my knowledge, no attempts at all. No one tried. I haven't seen Meghan and Harry in 5 years. And the last time I spoke with them, I was on a hospital bed before the wedding.
You see, if that was me, and I was, you know, at death's door for quite a few weeks and months, and my daughter turned her back on me, I'd be heartbroken. How do you feel?
Well, I guess heartbroken. I'm very upset about it as well, because this is a cruel thing to do to our grandparent. Not to just me, to the King of England as well. Denied the right to see a grandchildren. You have to forgive my voice, but I'm trying to say it the best way I can.
Thomas, we can hear in your speech the effects of the stroke. How else has it affected you? Well,
there's no cure for a stroke. You learn to manage it, so I'm managing the voice. I started with no voice at all. I didn't have any voice at all, and now it's getting better. And when I take my time and sound out the words, it gets much better. But it's a management thing every day.
What would you like to say to your daughter? I mean, we have interviewed you a number of times. You've been on Good Morning Britain a number of times over the past few years, and I have to admit I've had ambivalent feelings about it, because, you know, every member of a family is entitled not to speak to another member of their family if they feel wounded and hurt. And then when the book came out and the 6-part Netflix documentary came out, I think I changed my view a little bit, because they are very open about the rifts in the family and they have not remained quiet. And so I think you are entitled to speak about family relations and rifts. And I know that you don't have direct contact, so I can understand why you want to use television channels to get your message across. And Meghan, of course, is entitled to heed or not heed what you say. But if she is watching, and if she does hear, what would you like her to hear from you directly?
Well, put the past behind us, and allow me to see my grandkids. In California, I can actually sue to see them, but I don't want to do that. And the other thing is, I've done nothing wrong. There's nothing that points to me and says I'm a bad guy. As a matter of fact, I'm a really loving father, and she knows that. And there's no excuse for her to treat me this way. No excuse to treat the king that way as well. It's really ridiculous. No excuse to treat grandparents that way.
I must be honest with you, I'm sort of with Susanna on this. I was looking through all the notes on this story yet again last night, and I was struggling to work out what it is seriously that you've done wrong. I mean, given that the two of them have been so open with their personal details with the world's media through the TV series and through the book, given what you did just before they got married, which was to get into an unfortunate relationship with a tabloid hack. I mean, there are worse crimes, to be honest, that are committed by fathers against their children. What do you think it is? I mean, you know Meghan probably better than anyone except Harry and her mother. What do you think it is which is allowing her to maintain this distance, given that actually what's happened between you isn't that serious?
I really have no idea. And as far as the thing I'm accused of, it turns out I was set up for that, and set up to ruin the wedding. It was a ploy by a company, and I was a victim.
Thomas, we understand there was that incident with those staged paparazzi photographs, and that had caused a breakdown before the wedding. But during the documentary, Meghan said, after the wedding, my father did interviews, mostly saying things about me. It was incredibly painful, and the world is watching this drama play out. And then he started criticising the royal family. It was very embarrassing for the family. It was a problem that needed to be solved, and they wanted me to make it stop. And because I'd reached out to Her Majesty, I was like, this is what's going on. What do you want me to do? What advice do you have? And ultimately, it was suggested by the Queen that I write my father a letter. Now, that letter was then given by you, presumably, to the Mail on Sunday, and Meghan successfully sued the Mail on Sunday for publishing that letter. Is that not also something that's contributed to the rift?
One page of the letter I released, but not the entire letter. I never released that to anyone.
But you released part of it.
And a very hateful letter, a very hateful letter from my daughter to me.
Did you ever see...
And I don't deserve that.
I just want to come back to my last question to you, Thomas. I mean, did you ever see anything in Meghan as she was growing up, before the rift, before she met Harry, which made you think that she was capable of this kind of complete cutting off, that she was capable of doing that?
Meghan lived with me from the 6th grade to high school. And I never saw anything like that with her. And well, all through college, we got along fine then too, as well. I never saw the kind of woman she turned into. I'm shocked to this date to tell you that, because she's not the person I knew as my daughter.
Do you blame Harry for that?
I don't know. I don't know. I blame her or Harry. I think she had influence on Harry, more than he does on her. So I want blame Harry.
If the worst should happen, I mean, one of the reasons you're giving this interview is because you've had some very serious ill health, which you continue to battle.
Yes.
And as I said, you're going to be 80 next July. We're none of us here forever. And if you were never to speak to her again, what message would you leave her with? What would you like to say to her? It's a one-way communication, because she ain't going to answer. But what would you like to say to her? What would your last will and testament to your daughter be?
Well, I've always been here for her. I still love her. I love her forever. I never changed that feeling. But I want her to reach out to me and let me see my grandkids and let me have a little peace. And it's been 5 years. Guys go for things in prison for 5 years and then they're forgiven. I didn't do anything. So forget me, I guess. But
you believe you didn't do anything. So do you feel that there's no room for you to seek forgiveness from your daughter or apologise to your daughter? Do you feel you've got anything to say sorry for?
Well, I have been always apologizing for anything I might have done. I don't recognize anything I've done wrong. So I'm sorry if I have, but I can't condemn anything. And the other side of the coin is that King Charles has done nothing wrong too, and he's denied the kids as well as I am. Every time I see King Charles, I realize he and I share the same grandkids. That's not fair.
Thomas, if none of this nonsense had happened, and you and I were just having a drink together in a bar, and we were chatting, getting to know each other and talking about ourselves as fathers, and I were to say to you, what's the best thing about your daughter? What's the best thing about Meg? What would you say?
She's always been sweet and very talented.
You don't say loving, though.
Very loving. She always was before. I don't know now. But right now, she and Harry live like recluse in a big house, and they don't see anybody. They don't go anywhere. It's not good for the kids. It's bad for the kids.
And if, as a father, you were to throw yourself on your estranged daughter's mercy, what single thing would you say to her to illustrate to her the pain that you're going through?
I guess I'm doing that right now. But in my mind, I really believe she and Harry should take the kids and go back to England, give the kids their rightful place among the royals, and give the kids some exposure.
Thomas,
this living a little. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, look, everyone can hear the pain that you're feeling. At not seeing your grandchildren. As I say, family rifts are tragic, and people not speaking to each other is desperately sad. Everyone has the right to do that, but I think people will understand why you would want to express your feelings about seeing grandchildren that you have never met. Look, we wish you all the very best with your health and your recovery. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for talking to us, Thomas. Stay well.
Thank you.
Hey, what a mess.
It is, isn't it? It's very sad.